Good morning, this is Sheila from She's a Sassy Lady. It's time for a morning cup of Java. Are you ready for that coffee? I sure am. Well, I wanted to get with you this morning. Just a minute. That's so good. Wanted to get with you today. I'm working on gel pens this morning on, a calendar. And this is for my using my Cri-Kit gel pens. That's CRI-KIT gel pens. And the layout is kind of, you're going to do a layout like you normally do a layout. But what I did, and I'm going to change a few things up, and I think that's why I wanted to just bring this to your attention. I got to get this straightened out so you can see it. Okay. See how I've got all these tabs, and what I did is I named them. This is what I'm going to use: an orange ink, black ink, silver ink, black paper, orange, purple paper. So I named each one of them so I'd know where I was putting it, as I planned it. Well, I kind of adjusted a little bit, and just so you can see in my design, and I want to zoom in. On this first page, you can see I've got just the grid of the calendar, and I use design calendars on this, and I use the grid, and instead of cutting it, I'm going to kind of scrap lift the idea of using the gel pens with a calendar from Lori and Scrapping My Stress Away. My design is totally different, so that wasn't scrap lifted, just the idea of using it for the calendar and the grid, because if you've ever made a design calendar, it's wonderful. But boy, is it hard to get all those little numbers in and glue them down piece by piece by piece. Well, don't have to do that when you've got the Cri-Kit gel pens. And I just loved her idea of using them for that. So first I did my grid, and I haven't decided on what my background paper is. So the colors that I've got up above may change depending on the background papers. So what I did on the first layer is I just did a grid. Then on my second layer, I put the numbers in the grid, and you can see they're right within the boxes. See how I've got them? And each one of them, all the numbers are there. And the cool thing is they're so tiny that I can actually write on this calendar, where when I've made them in the past, I literally filled the whole box with the number, because you had to. Otherwise, they were so little. Each one of these is 0.40 of an inch. It's not even a ½ inch high. So you can see they're really, really tiny. Well, when I was doing that, I've got all my letters in position, so that's good to go. So everything on that is good. Now I went to my silver ink, and I started doing background color, and I got to zoom out here for a minute just so you can see. Now I put a spider's web in there. Can you see that? Isn't that going to be awesome? Because you know how a spider's web, it kind of glistens. Well, if I use a silver glitter pen or a white glitter pen, it's going to create that same effect. Now what I did is I thought, oh, I'll put a skeleton on there, and then I went to bed. I put the skeleton there and I went to bed, and I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to tap on the little skeleton, and I got the skeleton from Paper Doll's Dress Up. And I've got a tab labeled black paper. Well, I'm going to instead insert him over there. And he's about in the same spot. But what I'll do is I'll just layer it just like anything else. And that's going to be white paper now. And what I did is I've got lots of little goodies on there that I can stick anywhere within the calendar. Like I've got the spider, I've got a black cat, I've got the witch's hat in black, and I'll cut that out. But I'm going to use the bottom portion and make that for white, so I can have a white skeleton, and then I'll just ink his edges so that he kind of has some depth to him. Now I'm going to go back to that silver ink and take him off, because I really don't want him drawn on there. So back to basics and take him off. Now I did orange and purple paper because I've got accents. I've got my orange, and my October's going to be an orange. I've got, don't you love it? I've got a little monster there, and I've got the pumpkin, and I've got the stuff for the witch's hat. And down here in purple, yeah, I've got the other portion of the monster. And I think I'm going to grab the portion of the witch's hat and make a duplicate there and have a couple green or yellow accents, and I'll put that over there. Okay, so we have that. So I've got all my components all ready. I'm going to save it. We've saved. It's in the process of saving now. And look at this, I even have a hoarse voice. You can tell I just got up. But my problem is I go to bed at night. I've started a design in the evening. I go to bed at night and I think, oh, I've got to change this, I've got to do that. And I'm sure you do that too. Anyway, I thought, I'll wake up and I'll just have a cup of coffee with you ladies. Love my coffee in the morning. You got to have a cup too here. Got to have a cup. That's my cup of coffee. Okay, so this is all ready to cut. Now what I'm going to do though is, instead of cutting, I'm going to start out with my blank sheet of paper, and I'm going to do the one ink for the base. Then I'm going to use the next, change my pen, use the next ink for the number, change my pen once again, and do the spider web. Then I will, at that point, unload my paper. Then I've got my total background. Then what I'll do is I'll put some black paper in, cut out my little designs on top here, and I'm going to move them over so I can actually use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So why don't we do that right now? Save myself a little bit of paper here. Oh, let's just move the October down just a touch so I can get that hat in there. And then we'll move the little guy over there, and I can use my white sheet of paper over there. And again, I can use an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock and just cut a little piece off of some of my scraps or something. And then I've got the orange, excuse me, orange and purple and yellow or green paper. So, and I'll cut that. And then I have all my components, and all I have to do is put the page together. You know, we look at these designs, and if we just sit back, take a long look before we even start doing anything, and then design one piece at a time, it becomes very simple. As you can see, I've got my background paper, and that I'm just drawing the components on, and then I'm going to add and highlight and embellish with all kinds of little critters and things that are all done in paper. Thank you so much for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and be watching for the actual components themselves. I'm not going to sit and bore you with the Cri-Kit actually drawing, because I've shown you that before, and it's going to be a lengthy process, I think, because I've got 3 different ones, and I don't want to sit and bore you with that. So I'll take a couple pictures of it in action, and we'll just call it, that's a tutorial. You have a great day. Thanks for visiting Sheila at She's a Sassy Lady. Bye now.